One common thing I hear over and over is, why is it that women want bad boys?
I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. So let's watch and critique. Shout out to Nola Girl.
When you take away all of our socialization skills since birth, we are just animals. Our animal instinct as female mammals is to mate with alpha males, to continue the species with the strongest male out there. The strongest seed has, the most chances of survival. That's just evolution's way of weeding out the weaker genetics from the gene pool. And the alpha males, the males will fight for the rights to mate, to spread their seed, to make copies of themselves. And only the strongest male, the alpha male, will be able to mate with the females.
What she's saying, and I'm going to break it down another way. I do agree with what she says. So Homo sapiens sapiens, as in modern humans, have been around on Earth for approximately 300,000 to 400,000 years. Now, agriculture has only been around for 10,000 to 20,000 years. So once you have agriculture, that's when you start getting hierarchy and division of labor. Basically, agriculture made it so people had to really plan ahead. So prior to that, prior to 20,000 years ago, it really was about, okay, the alpha, quote unquote, was the one that was the strongest or could hunt the best or could protect the family. But once you move to agriculture and later on to industrialization, the definition of what an alpha changed. Right now, it's a guy who could think in the long term, who could make sure his money went far and could pay for retirement, blah, 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 blah. But just because society's needs change what quote unquote an alpha is, does not change the fact that genetically women have evolved to be attracted to a certain type of male that for the past 280,000 years were a certain way. So it's hard for societal changes and cultural, even epigenetic changes to go against these genetic sort of selection slash adaptations that have occurred for over a much longer period of time. So basically, all my mumble jumble saying, it is true. Ultimately, the first impression, being visual creatures as humans, as females, will just feel attracted to quote unquote guys who show those biological alpha traits, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But anyways, let's keep watching and not get bogged down in me using big words.
I believe some of that instinct is still left in women today. I mean, that's just what we were here to do. And so what women do is they claim to want a man that's going to listen to them and be there for them, and someone they can talk to, and someone that listens and actually understands them. But yet they turn around and they want to go have sex with the alpha male, or they seek attention from the alpha males.
The thing about the word alpha is it does connote something positive, right? So I think one of the problems with the discussion is that if you want to use this term to describe a certain type of guy, but you also want to move society forward, because nowadays what works is not what worked 100,000 years ago. So the term alpha probably needs to be redefined, or maybe there needs to be a better word to describe these type of your sort of traditional type of caveman attractive type of guys. This is just a little linguistic nitpick, but in any sort of debate, in any sort of framing of the issue, one of the most important things is definitions. So moving forward, when people talk about this stuff, there has to be some sort of definition given for words like quote unquote alpha, etc. But we all know what she means by when she says alpha. But a lot of times in debate, it's almost like if you're defining the terms differently, at the end of the day, you're both right, because you proved your point based on your definitions, and he or she proved their point based on their definitions. You see, so definitions. I had a discussion with a friend this weekend, so that's why I really want to give you guys this thought bubble.
What men need to learn is good guys out there, because I've heard a lot of good guys, comment, I'm a good guy, I work hard, I'm a decent man, and I can't get a good woman or a really attractive woman that actually, wants to stay with me. I get screwed over. Why is that?
As visual creatures, guys see the fertility, they see the beauty in her, and she knows that without much effort, she can get someone, right? So why would she put up with a lot when she knows she can just find someone better if she tried? See, that's the problem. Now, since this discussion, our analysis has been a lot about evolution and sort of outdated principles, so to speak, maybe as humans, as males, we just have to tell ourselves, hey, we need to look at other things besides what we're genetically programmed to do. So yes, a symmetrical face, big eyes, etc., nice body turns us on, but maybe we need to look at other things. And I'm not saying it's easy.
What you need to learn is you need to learn how to be, you need to make women think you don't need them. Women know that you need them for sex. You need to make them think you don't. You need to learn how to say no. When you put a period after no, it becomes a complete sentence. Don't say no, but, and try to explain yourself. No. Learn how to stand up for yourself, be more stern and dominant. Women respond to dominance. Women try to talk all that shit. Equality, gender equality, we're equal. We're not equal. Women seek out alphas that are dominant.
I'm going to talk about language again because the semantics of this discussion are very important. The word dominant, right? The problem with the word dominant is that it automatically connotes certain type of behavior that doesn't really fit into the framework of what modern dominant, what that definition is nowadays. And what she's describing as dominance more like a person who has his priorities, a person who's assertive, etc. But if you think dominance or you think a person who's dominant, just because of the emotions, the connotations of the word, you think assholes or you think someone that just plows over women. You see, that's the problem. And I didn't even realize this watching her video. This is my second time or third time watching this video. But a lot of the problems with the discussion of all these issues is we really have to be careful the terms we use. And maybe the word dominant we need a better word for the word dominant, or the ideas associated with sort of modern definitions of dominant. I'll tell you guys a funny story. I remember I was talking to my really funny Russian friend, right? And my Russian friend, I was like, yeah, women want guys who are dominant. And he's like, Jerry, what do you mean dominant, man? I will just go rape her. Of course he's joking, right? But like that's the connotation. When he hears dominant, he thinks that too. He thinks, oh, like that kind of dominant.
Women will get a good guy that listens to them and does all those things that women claim to want, right? And then they'll turn around and cheat on that guy or leave and dump that guy for a man that's gonna ignore them for several days and contact them at 11 o'clock at night talking about, what's up? What are you doing? You wanna come over? They will leave a good guy for a man that will talk to them like, bitch, let me tap that ass. They will leave a good guy or cheat on a good guy for a guy that will, never hold doors for them, never take them out, never treat them like a lady, never listen to them, never commit to them, just use and abuse them, just contact them when they want sex, ignore them, take 3 hours to answer their text messages. The females will text the male, hey, what are you doing? I miss you. And the alpha will take like 2 days to answer them. What's up? It's 11 o'clock. Can I come over?
Again, she used the word alpha to describe these men, right? But are these men that these women that she's describing falling for, are they really alpha? You see, this is the problem with that word. I don't see these men as alpha. I mean, I see them as don't give a fuck, or some of them might be a little childish, or some of them just, they have other priorities, but lumping some of these behaviors, which some of them are dysfunctional, into alpha, I think that's a problem.
And men that are good guys that are not like these alphas, you need to learn how to be more dominant and stand up for yourself and act like you don't need these women. And then the women will respond.
My issue with this is that she's saying, think a certain way, but act a different way. Basically, put on a disguise or put on a facade. How about you just learn, I really don't need this woman, or I don't need this manipulative person, or I don't need this person in my life. Instead of being like, oh, I need her, but I need to put on this facade to get her, just be like, I really don't need her. That way you're at least congruent. You're not thinking one way and trying to put on an act.
When you, don't text them a lot, take a long time to answer their texts, ignore them, act like you're too busy to hang out with them. Don't buy them no damn flowers. Don't give them nothing. When you're just, hooking up with them or talking to them or just early dating, don't do any of those things because you're going to get screwed over if you do. You got to be dominant. You got to let her know, I'm the man, you're the woman.
That's not being dominant, though. That's just being manipulative in a different way than she is. She's manipulating your emotions, so you're manipulating her emotions back, right? This is the problem when you advise guys who feel a certain way to not act a certain way. Yes, acting the way they feel is not going to get them somewhere, which is true, but the key is you have to change their thought process. It's not, I still want this girl, but now I just have to change the way I go about it so she's mine. It's like, no, I don't need this girl. I have other priorities, because only then can they actually truly deep down at heart, quote unquote, be alpha or be dominant or whatever word you're using. Teaching them a set of tools to pussy beg, so to speak, is in the long run, that just makes society even more and more disingenuous between men and women. Because now all men are pretending they don't need the women, and then women are playing more games to test men. You see, so it's a spiral to the bottom.
If you're being submissive with women and letting them run over you and boss you around and you're trying to buy her things and treat her like a lady, she'll accept it, but she's going to cheat on you or she's going to dump you for the alpha. Women, it just drives me nuts. They'll sit around all day how they want this good guy. Men don't commit. They're scared of commitment. He doesn't listen to me. He doesn't talk to me. I want someone that will talk to me and listen to all my emotional drama and bullshit. But then they turn around and they want to go try to follow or flirt with the guy, the biggest alpha at the gym that has slept with every single woman that works out at that gym. Or they will, go after the alpha in the club that, done had one night stands with just about every club thought that hangs around in there. That's what they do.
She's describing all these behaviors you definitely don't want to have. Like, you don't want her to be making most of the decisions, right? Because then she's going to feel like, what type of guy is this? I thought this guy, he's a bigger guy. He's supposed to protect me. Well, how is he going to protect me if I'm the one that's taking charge, right? So, yeah, some of the stuff she says is good. Or it's like, buying her flowers, all that romantic bullshit, right? Yeah, that's true. But it's not just two sides of the coin. The other side isn't, just like learn to treat her a little bit like shit. There's a balance to all this, right? It's a population curve, as in it's a distribution of women. Some women maybe really like to be treated like shit. Some women maybe want to be treated a little bit like shit. Some women want just a guy with boundaries. Some women want super nice puppy like guys. It's all a distribution. Maybe I think the center of the distribution, as in the majority of women stand at a place where they want a guy with boundaries. It's not they want a guy who treats them like shit. They want a guy somewhere in between.
Women want dominant men that are going to treat them like shit and speak to them like they're nothing. And that's the kind of men that they will continue to chase. They will chase those men. They will never get commitment from those men.
It seems like, and I just kind of had this revelation, maybe she's only describing a subset of women. She's describing women with really low self-confidence. And maybe in Western society, the majority of women do have low self-confidence. I don't know. But it just seems to me this sort of behavior that she's describing is not in every woman. Not every woman wants to be with a guy that treats them like shit. Maybe in certain circles it seems like it, but I think a blanket statement like this is a little too broad.
There was a guy on here that watches my videos. He comments occasionally, and he said the most brilliant thing on one of my other videos. I'm going to try to quote what he said. He said, the problem is people need to stop dating outside of their league. Meaning, if you're a beta, you need to stop chasing the alphas. He said, alphas will screw betas, but alphas only marry alphas. And he was so right about that. People just keep on trying to date and settle down with people outside their league. And you're just going to get screwed over every single time. You know, those alpha males, they're not going to settle down with, beta women, real insecure, submissive women that just constantly, what are you doing? I miss you. I can't stop thinking about you. You know, those kind of men like the chase. Once they conquer, they're ready to go chase again. You know, that's instincts. That's inside them.
I don't like this beta alpha thing that she's doing because obviously there's problems with definitions with these words. But the ultimate thing that she's saying is true. There's something about, remember in high school and college, I talk about people in your league. It's always good, of course, to be ambitious and aim higher. That's what capitalism is. That's what our society is built on. It's like we can build a better society. We can build a better world for ourselves, our family, our children, our neighbors, etc. But when it comes to romance, knowing all that you know about male nature, about female nature, maybe, and I'm not saying don't try, but I'm just saying maybe you're happier if you don't quote unquote aim too high. If you succeed, it's just headaches for the rest of your time with whatever person you get. So sometimes we understand that society kind of has stereotypes with people who are not in committed relationships. They're like, oh, maybe the person's weird, that's why no one can love them, or blah, 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 blah. So if you want to go and you care a lot about that type of external validation, or you're in a field where you have to have that type of external validation to get somewhere, then find someone potentially you're compatible with. Don't care too much about the looks. You know, make sure she like takes care of herself, but like don't care too much about the looks, and then go from there. Just like she said, I don't like this alpha beta thing, but don't aim too high, don't aim too low either. Just figure out where you're at. Like be honest about where you're at right now, and be like, okay, what can I do that can move me forward if I want to do something in this romance department?
And I'm not talking about every single woman in the world, but the majority of our women that are caught up in all the things I talk about in my videos, liberalism, feminism, into reality television shows, addicted to social media, the average woman today.
You see, finally, she defines the type of woman she's describing. I think a very good takeaway from this is try to do that at the beginning. When you're starting an issue or starting to make a point, make your definitions clear in the beginning. And I don't do this sometimes, so I'm learning a lot from just analyzing her video. If you're trying to make a point, you're one of those make a point type of YouTubers, what you can do better, define your terms first. Because now I know what type of woman she's talking about. Okay, now I can go back and reanalyze and be like, okay, does it make sense what she's describing, etc.
That woman will feel very insecure after each one of these encounters with the alpha male, and she'll go running back to her submissive beta male and complain about how she, complain about all of her emotional baggage, and he will be there to rub her head and a shoulder to cry on, and oh, you're such a good man. And then she will turn around and, when that alpha male calls her again in the middle of the night, she will go running every single time, and she will constantly try to get that alpha male to be with her, and she will never, obtain that, because alpha females do not chase alpha males.
I think we can end here with a very good lesson from what she said. People don't change easily. So if he's a jerk, if he's a guy that sleeps around, don't expect that you're going to be the fucking amazing person to tame him. If she's a manipulative bitch, don't expect she's going to change for you. Or she's a pretty girl, very entitled girl, don't expect she's going to suddenly change because she's with you. I think this is a good piece of advice for men and women. Just don't expect people to change. If there's something wrong with them, it's probably easier to move on than try to change them. That's why you be very careful who you marry, who you cohabitate with, blah, 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 etc. Just because the person has boundaries or the person meets one or two criteria is not enough. You have to have a lot of criteria. Of course, an easy way is just to say, I'm just going to focus on other things and do other things and make a mark on the world in other ways. But some people still want to live and be loved, etc., blah, blah, blah. So, got to have a lot of criteria. I hope this helps. Shout out to Nola Girl. Thank you for this video. Hope you guys liked it. Press like, press subscribe. etc. And give her a shout if you guys find her video. I'll put the video in the bottom too. All right, bye-bye.